Good evening, everyone. And let me get you to the pieces we're going to be looking at today. I guess we can start off one because there's a couple options available for the shroud. Um, this piece here, you have the option of the Nomi 2 being installed in the shroud. And then you also have the option of doing away with that and this just running the cone in place of the Nomi for the heatsink fan. If you install the Nomi, it basically ends up clicking in. Uh, Top goes in first. All right, and the bottom presses in. It's held in basically. It's a friction fit on this, and this would be the look with the Nomi. Obviously, all lit up and has all your animations and everything. If you're not putting the Nomi in, basically just pop that out, chuck it. For this build, we're not gonna. We're gonna be installing the cone. So with the cone, there is an orientation to this. You'll see on three sides of this facing front, it's recessed here. So we're recessed here across the top and then across the other side. So this top notch, this is what faces the top inside here. And this is going to go in similar to the Nomi, but it's more of a pain in the butt. And then you'll basically use your thumbs, press on the outside. Don't press on the inside cone part. I haven't seen it snap yet, but I'm sure it will. All right, and that is pressed in place. And so that's the look with the cone as opposed to the Nomi. This piece here, this is the only piece that really isn't part of the Vendetta. This is going to go on the arm, and I'll show you some pictures later. This basically just snaps on to the arm with a screw that threads itself. You'll see one side is recessed, that's for the head of the screw. Other side's a smaller hole, that's where it threads into. It doesn't have to be super tight, it's really just holding it in place on the arm, and that's what's going to trigger this arm on the Vendetta when it goes to a far left, basically is how I set it up. Far left on the V400. I guess we should start off with, I kind of jumped the gun. Your stock effector. Basically, you're going to strip that whole thing down. You're going to end up with basically the effector, the heat sink, and the one thing with the heat sink you will need to do is going to be pulling. There's a little plastic piece that comes in here. It's actually an expendable piece, but you will need to pull that out. There is a grub screw at the back here that you're going to need to let out in order to pull that plastic piece. Components wise, this is the main body. This is the main body back. That's the shroud. This is the cutter arm. This is the cutter button. And this is the idler or the tensioner. You will need to purchase the EBB 42, and this, let me pull this up here. Optional parts, the Nomi 2, a new fan if you're looking for replacement. My stock fan got a little noisy on the heat sink, so I did include a link to a new 24 volt fan. My board, everything's running off an Octopus V1.1 motherboard. You should be able to use your stock board. You will need some sort of interface if you're going CAN or if you're going USB to the tool head. So I run everything through CAN off the Octopus. And here's a turbo kit if you're looking to do CPAP. This is the turbo kit I'm using on mine. We can go through some of the hardware stuff that is required here. We need 3 MR63ZZ small bearings. We're going to need one of the Bamboo Lab filament cutter blades. Now there is a second option for the button that does not use the Bamboo Lab. Actually will let you use I think it's a number 4 chisel, cut to size and just slid into the button. So if you don't want to do the Bamboo Lab piece, there is a second option for the buttons that lets you use a chisel blade in there. Obviously the heat set inserts we've already gone through in these pieces. If you didn't see that one, take a look back at the last video and you'll see basically where those are going, and that's all going to be in the main body. Got a couple links to the LEDs. So we have a small LED that's pointed back towards the nozzle, and then we also have a it's a 7 LED for the logo that's inside the shroud. You're going to need a small piece of Capricorn that's 35 millimeters. Basically that extends from the main body down to the heat break. BMG extruder kit. You can use the original extruders from the V400. The only thing is the bearings on that. So with the BMG extruder kit, they have the 8 millimeter. With the stock bearings are 9 millimeter. So you will need, if you're going to use the existing ones, you will just need to purchase separately the 8 millimeter bearings for the extruder, or just pick up the kit and it comes with everything you need. This is the filament switches, the Omron D2HW C201H. I couldn't find a Amazon link for this. So there is a separate link here, and you can get them no problem. I think it's through Mouser. Then some miscellaneous screw sizes here. One ECAS Bowden collet that does come already in the BMG extruder kit. So if you get that kit and you don't have a ton of ECAS fittings, one's in there, so you don't have to worry about it. And then a spring, 4 millimeter outside diameter. I think 20. Let me take a peek at what I got here. I'm kind of oversized with mine, but yeah, I'm at 30 with mine, but it's super long. But yeah, anywhere from like 20 to 30, you're okay with the spring. Most of the time it's semi compressed, but it needs to be strong enough to kick that button back out so you don't have it sticking. Okay, here is, I want to show you this because I didn't have this part printed before, but this is in the files to print. This is the logo. This is the only part that I print in um, two colors, and then it's got a ring or a pop out ring that prints in here as well. But I end up going at this level in here, end up going to the white, and then that carries through. It's a multi-part. So these are white or transparent. Either way you can get away with. And then that front face I make black, as well as the surround on it is all black. Right. This basically eliminates having like a halo around this thing when the light's shining. So most of the time in the LED settings, we're running LED effects, and it's doing a a multicolor around the logo, but it'll put a bunch of light off to the side, and you'll also see a ring around here. So doing this part in black around here eliminates that. So the only light that's coming through here is coming through these three pieces, actually. This is the cutter arm, and this gets two of the MR 63ZZ bearings. That's the deep one. That's the flush one at the back. The button is fairly easy. Like I said, this is the one for the bamboo chisel blade. So this blade gets put in through the top here. You see it basically go in. I usually flip it down and then just scoot it all the way down to the base. So it's sitting in here like this. Spring is going to sit in this hole, and then there is a matching hole on this here. So your button is going to go in with the spring, and that blade slots right into the middle of that. This will get a rod in through this part, all the way in. Get it lined up with the other hole. And we're good. And now we are on to the back piece. This is one of the 8 millimeter pieces here. That's going to go in the center hole. On the back, the part where Vendetta is printed, that's where your extruder gear is going to go. And you can just get it cinched up, back it off a little bit. Another M36 in the slotted part. Your gear is going to go in here. You're going to adjust this down and get your backlash semi close here. Cinch it up a little bit. So that is the back piece all set up. The front, basically you're going to have the other 8mm bearing pressed in down at the bottom of this here. This area here, this is where the idler, the tensioner arm goes against. In this recessed one here, you're going to take a M36, thread it all the way down so it's right at the surface of this here. And you can use this screw to make adjustments with the tensioner. Basically, you'll have the adjustment hole here. You can back that screw out and adjust your tension. So this will have the spring engaged here, but you should be able to back this screw out if you're too tight, or just make sure it's sucked all the way in for if everything's okay. I haven't had an issue with this thing biting too much on the filament, so I haven't really needed the back out, but it's good to have there in case you do. Like I said, the cutter button goes here, and this is the filament sensor. So I don't know if you can see here. Let's see if I can do this. So in this recess here, there's a slot cut out. Most people think it's for a ball bearing, but it is not. You're going to use another one of the MR63ZZs, and this is going to go basically standing up like this in that hole in place of the bearing. There we go. Okay, and this presses all the way down in. Route your wires kind of out of the way. Here, and then here is a spot for an M20. And I like to use this because it doesn't have a huge head on it. And this just threads into the plastic across the hole from it. We can go ahead and do the EBB 42. And this is going to be on, this comes with the Teflon washers. I use M3 8s on these guys here. And basically it's going to slot in like that. The rest of this up here, there is a hole here that the other side is going to go into, and then it'll press all the way in with this guy here. Few people diving into this and making these as of right now, so I want to make it. I would love for more people to try it out. I want to make it as painless as possible for you to get this printed and installed and wired up and all that fun stuff. And this really came out of necessity. Working or doing some beta testing for Armored Turtle with their box turtle. I was probably the only one of the group that had a Delta print. Well, more people had Delta printers. It's just I was the only one trying to run the box turtle with it. So I was not happy with the filament retraction and all that fun stuff with not cutting, and then we went to hub cutters and that mess, and then ultimately found myself just needing to make a tool head solution for it. Well, this is kind of hard, like showing shit to the camera and trying to do things. That's that, and the last part here is going to be the button and then this arm. This will be using a M320. 16 is a little bit too short. It'll grab, but it won't bite the whole thing, and you have a lot of pressure on this thing. So let me get, basically this goes in with the spring on the opposite hole. And the blade inside. So I usually hold that in place like it's pressed. Thread the arm in, or at least start it. And then with this, I'll usually cinch it down, which it won't move when you try, um, and then back it off. So basically you want it backed off enough that the button is not binding and it's ejecting the arm. The ECAS at the top, this you are going to remove the rubber. This already has it removed, but you're going to remove that last little squared off rubber piece that's at the bottom of this, the black piece. And that gets pressed into the top. I usually do my clamp on this for giggles. You can do this against a table or whatever. I just find it easier on this. This guy here, which is a 35 millimeter long piece of Capricorn tubing. And this is the tight stuff on this, but it's high heat. And then what I like to do is, especially the part that is going into the body, you're going to want to make sure that you have a nice chamfered filament path going into there. So what you could do is you could chamfer both ends, but it's mainly the end that goes into the body. And then press it as far as you can get it. And then it's going to leave about that much sticking up. We have about 15 millimeters exposed off the base of this. Yeah, 14.21 here. So with the little bit of space that's there, 15 should be right on the money. So we go 20 into the unit, 15's left out. There's about 14 from here down into the heat break. Which they are not all the way in there right now. Might have to manhandle it a little bit. Get that, and then these should use these are the M316s. Like I said, you could use the stock ones or your own if you got them. That's that portion of it. So that is the Vendetta so far mounted, main body mounted. Cutting arm. Filament sensor, like I said, is kind of tucked back in there, so that's why you want to keep those wires out of the way through that little protective triangle. The action on this thing is really nice, and then ultimately, like I said, this is on the arm. So when it moves all the way over to this side, the arm gets closer and presses against here. So it's cutting against its own arm as it moves to the end of the bed, to the left side of the bed. And that's what's triggering that. All right. That's it for tonight. Go have a drink. Enjoy yourselves. Please leave a comment if you could, or if you have questions, or if there's some area you want me to focus on, or you think I'm too long-winded, or whatever the hell it might be. I'm very interested. I came up with this thing, like I said, for myself in order to do what I wanted to do with the box turtle. And that is an awesome project, by the way, guys. If you haven't logged into that, I would definitely recommend taking a peek at Armored Turtle's GitHub. And you can find Armored Turtle in Discord as well. But that project is just like taken off. It seems like everyone has been building those, and if you don't know, it's basically automated filament changer for any clipper printer. So it's basically like the Bamboos, but totally open source. So and I think better. Definitely definitely less expensive, but it does a ton more. So if you're ambitious enough, go check it out for sure. It's an awesome project, and like I said, this was just my doing um, in order to do what I wanted to do with the box turtle. So if you could, I've never done this before. Leave a like, leave a comment, whatever it might be. I'm interested in finding out uh, who's making them. As I've seen a few in the wild here coming up, and people have contacted me on it, and it's awesome to see. I didn't expect this, to be out in the wild. I just wanted it for myself, but other people expressed interest, so I figured, well, this is the way to do it. But I have no experience putting together a video or any of this crap, so we'll see how it works. But yeah, leave me some comments if you got some suggestions, or if there's anything else you want me to discuss, and we'll go from there. All right, everyone have a good night.